Hi guys, and welcome to No Man's Sky. Of course, we've all, know the glories of this game and whatnot. It's a very fun game, and yeah, this is my first video. I've never done anything like this before, so bear with me. But there's been a lot of questions about the ByteBeat devices. I am no expert, but I have been tinkering with them here lately. What you're hearing is one of my little melodies. I actually put this together a few minutes ago, making a video for you guys, and it didn't never record for some reason. So that kind of hurt my nerves. So basically, I'm going to put together a little tutorial on how I actually build songs. It's not anything fantastic or spectacular. I'm not a professional. I've never worked with synthesizers. The only instrument I do play is guitar, and I'm not even really good at it. But I do like music. I think everybody likes music, It's, an essential part of human experience. It speaks to our souls, and it's a form of communication that doesn't need words. We all understand music. So, I think it's something we all would love to dabble in. And this provides a great way for the common man to play with a synthesizer. I'm sure that professional synthesizers are far more complex than this, but I really think this is cool, and this is the closest to a synthesizer, to me owning a synthesizer that I've ever come. So basically how this works is the easiest way that I like to do this is I either start off with a drum beat or droning notes, preferably droning notes, as to me they're like the heart and soul of the song. They don't do much, but they provide the overall feeling of the song and the emotion of the song. And so those are the things I like to start off with. Another thing to keep in mind is, unless you're really good at this, if you try to go in with anything specific in mind, you're going to hurt your own feelings. Unless you're really good at synthesizers already, it's going to be incredibly hard to produce a sound that you have in your mind, because that's going to take a very intimate knowledge of this little guy right here called the advanced waveform, which I have absolutely no clue about. As far as I've come with it is, Hello Games has been nice enough to provide us with 3 songs in our playlists already, with advanced waveforms. So the most I do with it is, if there's a waveform in any of those songs that I like, I'll use this little doohickey right here, and I'll copy it and I'll paste it into my own song. And then I might go and tinker with the settings a little bit to maybe tweak it. But other than that, and just randomly playing with it and to try to get different sounds, I cannot tell you much more than that with that. So that's not something we're going to touch upon much, if at all, because I have no knowledge of it. The 2 things we're going to focus on are the sequencer, which is how you get your basic 4-note sound, and your synchronizer, which is how you put your different 4-note melodies together to create an entire song. I like to have all these turned on initially, so that when I'm working on a track or a portion of the track, it doesn't just cut out on me and I'm essentially flying blind until it turns on again. This is your BPM. So this affects, how fast or slow your song is, the tempo of it. Slower songs are more like ballads and stuff like that. Faster songs, techno, rock, stuff like that. Your attenuation affects how much of the sound you get the further away from it you are. It determines how the sound dies off as you walk away from the device, basically, or move away from it. Volume controls the volume of this particular four note sequence in the entirety of the composition. So you can turn certain parts of the song down so that other parts of the song can emphasize over it better. I need a little more practice with that. A lot of my other songs, everything's turned up to 100%. I should definitely go back and tinker with those to try to flesh out my songs a little more and make them um, a little more vibrant in some areas. Um, this is where your drum beat goes. This is your drum kit. You have your bass, your snare, and your thimble, or something like that. I never get that word right. And then this little slider is interesting. I didn't realize what it did at first, but depending on where it is, you will get more sound out of your drum kit or more sound out of your four note sequence, your rhythm area. This is, I guess, is what you would call this, your rhythm area. Um, this right here breaks your notes up into smaller and smaller portions so that you can essentially create more complex note structures. Um, and this is where a lot of like your chorus type, solo type stuff would come in, or your faster note sequences that might pop up in overall slower tempo songs. This is how you would do it, that I know of. If any of you have better knowledge in this, please let me know. Now, you can also change the key that you're playing in. Um, from what I from what I understand, to create more melancholic type songs, you want to play in minor keys. To create more bouncier songs, you play in major keys. Um, your arpeggiator. This is a very interesting device. It's like someone is just randomly diddly doos on your piano or something, but it adds interesting effects to your notes, and we'll see that in a minute as I play with this. Um, this determines your note. I want to say note length, but this is actually your note length. This, well, they call it attack. So this can make your notes sound more like wow, or more like meow, meow. It's you got to play with that a little bit to kind of understand, and we'll go over that as I put a little song together. And this is your waveform, basic waveform editor. Um, these change how your notes sound slightly. Some of them are more subtle than others. The one thing I've noticed is that your square, if you want a really bold note, go with square waveform. Everything else, I can't really describe how they change it. Some of them are a little more crisp than others. Some are a little more, I guess, faded. Um, this here will change your pitch. So if you want a higher pitch, of course, you go up. If you want a lower pitch, you go down. Um, most of my songs are around the 3 to 4 area, and I use bass with sometimes underlying bass notes in 1 or 2. Um, they make great, the pitch of 1 and 2 make great bass notes. 3 or 4 are great middle tones, from my experience. So, to get down to the nitty gritty, we'll actually go back in. I don't know why I backed out. And we'll start with some droning notes. So we'll turn this little guy up here so we can we'll hear our drones a little better. And so we'll just start off with some basic stuff, like we'll start with that. See how that sounds? Alright, let's go down one. Alright, we'll go up. And we'll end on that again. That don't sound quite right. So we'll go to green. So that sounds a little better. This is, if you guys hadn't noticed, this is the actual 4-note sequence I started with on the last song. I just happened to remember it. And we'll play with this little device here, and I'll show you what it does. The attack. You see how that note filled out a lot more. And now how it just kind of fades in. And we'll do it the opposite way. So that's kind of what that does. Let's try. We'll do that. We'll go with that there. So those are going to be our basic droning notes there. And the way I kind of do this, like I said, I have no knowledge of music theory or anything. But the basic premise I go with is I try to find what I feel like are my key notes, and I build everything off of that. And I feel like my key notes in this particular drone would be this teal or light green and the purple. So we'll work with those notes there, and let's go what I call an octave. I think the octaves, if you go back here, an octave of the note I think is 3. So I think the octave of this note would be here, in this area, and here. Though I'm not entirely sure about that. Another thing I feel works for me is your next sequence of the song or the other sequences of the song. If they start or end on the same notes, then you can pretty much fill the middle with whatever crap you desire, and it'll still kind of sound good. Or the other premise is, instead of ending or beginning on those same notes, you can do an octave of those notes, and it'll still sound good. So that is about my knowledge of that. So let's see, we had the teal going, which I think was, where was that? Right here. Okay, let's start with an octave above it, and we'll see how that goes. And then we'll do an octave above the yellow, which would be here. Okay, so that sounds like kind of good, right? Change pitch down. That doesn't sound too bad either. Let's go up to 4 and see how that sounds. Now, it could just be my high-pitched hearing loss, but it sounded like the high notes kind of died off a little bit. So we'll go down. And to me, that sounds pretty good right there. Now, we could split our notes up. Instead of making them 1, we could do 3/4, and the notes will happen a little faster. You see how that? And now we can kind of play with the pattern a bit and see if we can come up with something a little interesting. here. I didn't quite like that too much. Let's go down one right there. I didn't quite like that either. So we'll go down one more on this octave. It's starting to sound a little better. I didn't quite like that. Blue's just not working out very well. And then we'll go down. And then we'll go back up. So see, it's starting to come together pretty good. I didn't like the way that sounded, so we'll bring that down a little more. And I don't think that should end on a high note. I think we need to go lower. I think we need to go back down to red. No, that still didn't quite sound right, did it? That sounds better. That sounded a lot better. So, and this is kind of the idea of how I do this. I just play with it until I find stuff that I like. And then let's play with the arpeggiator a little bit. So this little slider here adjusts how far apart the pianist in the synthesizer, how spread out the notes are and how they play the notes. And these will break your notes up to even more. And you get some really interesting effects out of this, especially when you combine it with other stuff. See how the waveform kind of changes it? Of course, that's really bold. And I kind of like the way that sounds. It's a little funky, but it works, you know? So we'll leave that, and we'll go and work on another part of the song. And let's do something a little, not quite as slow as a droning, but not as fast. And so this might work for us here, with the notes broken up into eighths. And then let's turn our arpeggiator on so we can get some more dingy-doos in there, but not as much. So we'll go like this. It is not sounding good at all, is it? So what we can do is we'll play with this pattern a little bit. I'm kind of thinking we need to go up instead of down on that one. No? So, that's not quite working. Well, so we'll try with a slower, let's break it up a little more. And we'll add these down here. Let's put this here. Not quite what we're looking for. Alright, and let's change the pitch a little bit. See, that sounds not too bad right there, right? Alright, so we'll leave that. And now we'll work on our drum beat. So with this, I don't want to do anything too fast because it's not a very fast song. So we'll do something like of course, this right here changes what your bass and stuff sounds like. Alright. And then let's add a little. Alright, that's our snare. Of course, you change the way it sounds too. And our thimble here. I'm never really good at hearing the cymbal anyway. Okay, that kind of works for, you know. Alright, we'll go with that. And now here's where the real magic happens. Your synchronizer. This is how you kind of put the composition of your song together. So what I like to do is, and I know these are probably just very basic ideas, but let's start off with just the droning notes at the beginning of our song. And then at the second part, we'll have our drums kick in. And then we'll have our little ding-doo come in. And we'll take the droning out with just a drum beat, and that'll kind of emphasize this part. And then we'll add our dingy-doo in with it. And this is kind of how we just put the whole song together. And being this yellow part of this will kind of blend into this teal over here nice. You can end the song with this, and it should loop back into the droning really nicely. See? And that, my friends, is how you put a basic song together. I know we only used 4 out of the 8 ByteBeat devices, but I really didn't want to keep you guys here all night. Sometimes it takes me hours to put together something I like. But this was just a very basic idea of how to do it. And I really hope it helps some of you get into this. I'd like to hear, you know, a lot of your creations. And hopefully we can get enough of this community together, and maybe we can put together a whole, you know, No Man's Sky symphony. That would be amazing. But I really hope you enjoyed this video in my recording studio. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know. I'd be happy to respond. And like I said, this is my very first time doing any sort of recording, gaming recording, and I really hope it took this time. That being said, I hope you guys had fun. I sure as hell did. And have a wonderful rest of your day. This is Three Fingers signing off. Thank you.